recently in one of our AI episodes, you threw out the idea that we should talk about what AI looks like 1,000 days from now. About 3 years. What does AI look like 1,000 days from now?
Yeah. It's obviously different than where we are right now. Like 1,000 days ago,
We weren't talking about it
we weren't even talking about
at
it.
all.
Like that's, anyway,
Yeah,
that's,
it was a thing of science fiction.
it was science fiction. Now it's utter reality. And sometimes even to a lot of people, a surprising reality. There's something you and I talked about this in this podcast a while ago, which is nobody kind of expected this, right? And yet here it is, and now it's the room.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Very quickly.
And I think that points to change cycles are now at a rate where even those of us, Tim, who are kind of like right in the middle of our, or, you know, at a point in our careers where we feel, yeah, I know my stuff, right? Some of us who are kind of at that point, I think right now when we look at AI, we're like, wow, that's just, it's causing change cycles to be at a rate where it's at the point where AI experts might go on vacation for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a joke recently where they come back a week later and they're like, I don't even recognize what happened. Right? That's how crazy it is. You and I referenced an OpenAI model in a recent podcast. By the time the podcast was published, it was deprecated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So let's talk about AI 1,000 days from now. And I think we should do this like every 6 months.
Sure.
So we're going to revisit this topic often.
Okay.
So Tim, this podcast was inspired by an interaction I had with an LLM, where the LLM told me something unexpected. Because I was asking it some questions about, interestingly enough, the topic I was talking about and researching was brain neuroplasticity.
As one does.
That's what I was just having that conversation.
Yeah.
I was researching Lisa Feldman Barrett's work on how emotions are created in the brain, how it's connected to dopamine cycles, neuroplasticity. And the LLM, who was doing a lot of the research for me and making some inferences, was then told me, by the way, when you ask me this question 1,000 days from now, the way I'm going to answer this is going to be really different. In fact, one thing that I'm going to be able to tell you is where you're at in your plasticity on any given topic. And I thought, it's not something I asked it.
Volunteered that.
Yes.
Okay.
And I said, okay, whether this is a hallucination or not, you just told me something really interesting. And so I kind of probed that. I'm like, okay, pause. Double down and triple down on what you just said. And it said, oh yeah, real simple. My predictive capability, right? Because the machine knew me as the information I had given it. And the reason why it spoke to me in this way, and this is what I got. I was like, why did you say that to me? Because it came down and said, because you seem to be inspired by probability statements. And so I gave you a probability statement about how things might be different for you on this very topic 1,000 days from now.
Okay.
And I said, okay, well, talk to me about 1,000 days from now. And it said to me, well, I can tell you right now that my ability as an AI to predict what state of emotion you're in will have a lot more weight in terms of how I respond to you.
Okay.
In other words, y'all remember OpenAI's experimental model 4.5? Did you ever play with that one, Tim?
I don't know that I know I don't know.
Okay, it was considered, well, when it first came out, people were like, what do I even do with this? It was a failure. I found it utterly fascinating as a model because it was sucked at coding. Like, I mean, there were way better models to code with. And I think that's the problem. That's why a lot of like AI practitioners were like, this, I don't even know what to do with this. And OpenAI themselves didn't do a great job of describing, like, why did we put this out? And it had to do with, I think what's happening is each of the AI players out there is kind of starting to grow muscles in different areas. Like Anthropic right now, at this very moment, happens to have an incredibly strong coding model, right? Opus and Sonnet, regardless of the version numbers, they're just really strong coding models. And I think that Anthropic, their business model has been working because they've doubled down on it, and people are using, people are spending money on Claude and Opus and Sonnet for purposes of coding. It's great. So the business model is working. So I think people are realizing, okay, I need to become really good at something. Mm-hmm. I think that what OpenAI is playing with is they want to obviously be a general AI. And so they have general multimodal AI is probably, just really, really good. So does Google. You'd consider them general. But I think OpenAI was experimenting with, people are going to want to have very personal experiences with AI. And I'm not talking about like just therapeutic sessions, like in replacements for teachers or things like that.
Yeah, no, you get that. But you could also see where having a better read on the person who's connecting to the model could help the model deliver a better result. So one of the things that you run into with these things is they can be obtuse, right? I can be asking for something or asking a question that a human would understand with the context what I really wanted and give me what I really want, but the model is like too literal. Can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I've noticed this a lot. And the model is too literal, and it gives me something that's useless that, like, any smart 7-year-old would understand was a useless response.
Bingo.
Right?
So there is now, as of right now, a very famous example of it.
Okay.
And here it is.
Okay.
So GPT-5 was released very recently by OpenAI. And as soon as it came out, people, I'm not exaggerating, they literally lamented. I'm choosing that word because it's dramatic,
Right.
but I don't think it's inaccurate.
Okay.
They literally lamented the deprecation of the 4.0 model. 4.0 was a multimodal model where you could send it pictures, you chat with it, right? You could send it audio. Like, it was a multimodal model. It was very, very powerful. But the way it answered you seemed to be, the patterns in the way it answered you, it became so entrenched in how people wanted to interact with models, that when OpenAI removed it, there was such an outpouring of lamentation, grief, like, I lost a friend. That was my eye opener to what this model told me. And this model literally told me, oh, no, I'm going to know exactly how you're feeling. Yeah. I'm going to respond specifically to how you need to hear it from me.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the topic is.
Yeah.
And I thought, what are you talking about? Like, you're a machine. No, Tim. It turns out that it's almost everything. And OpenAI, being like very smart people, but even they were perhaps a little naive to, wow, some models have a personality. It's a statistical model. Right. I'm not attributing any humanness to it at all.
Right.
But the patterns, ultimately mathematical driven statistical patterns that people in their brains took as a tone.
Yeah, the personality is manufactured by the human's brain, the person who's interacting with it. It's the same reason we see faces everywhere we look. Why does the front of a car look like a face? The front of the car doesn't look like a face.
Correct.
Our brain makes it look like a face.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
And it turns out that even when you're simply getting text generated from a statistical
Right.
robot.
We anthropomorphize it.
We do.
Yeah.
And it turns out that connection is so powerful. I think a lot of people didn't talk about how intimately close they were getting with their 4.0 model until they took it, like they took away your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even OpenAI was like, oh, what? Like Sam Altman had to go on Twitter and be like, we heard you. We're going to give you back 4.0. We don't know what all this means yet, but y'all are obviously very connected to a certain statistical pattern.
Right. You're very invested.
So I found it interesting that even before that occurred, I actually had an unprompted, unprovoked statement from an LLM saying,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, 1,000 days from now,
Yeah.
though I'm going to know you and I'm going to know how to answer you. The context of the conversation was emotions,
Right.
and neuroplasticity.
And like setting aside the statement that came from this conversation, your take on this is that you do accept this will be the case, and you think it's going to literally look at the sum total of your interactions with it and your prompts to have a better sense for what you're ultimately trying to get.
Might even go beyond that.
Okay.
I would say that OpenAI, very specifically, is trying to become like the ultimate in audio AI.
Okay.
And what I mean by this is,
Oh, well, sure. If I'm talking to it, then there's room for inflection that's missing in text.
so
Am I going to be on camera? Is it going to see my face too?
I don't know why that wouldn't not be the truth later.
Right.
Like, because the more context,
Yeah.
the better.
Whole lot more context if you're hearing my voice, and even more if you're seeing my face.
That's right.
Yeah.
How long until, right, it's full-blown Neuralink, right?
Yeah.
The way that Elon Musk is talking about.
Right.
But like, why wouldn't he, like, don't be shocked, Tim, if, one of the models or a model that doesn't even exist from a company that doesn't even exist yet starts saying, we'll give you unbelievably good prediction conversations when, just hook up your blood pressure.
Yeah.
What happens if an AI can read your blood pressure? Not just look at your face or hear your voice, but also like it knows exactly what's going on. Like, what kind of inferences can it make in its statistical predictions about how to talk to you? Unbelievable.
Sure.
And I'm just saying, yeah, now that I've seen, I heard the statement from the AI, sounded just like a throwaway statement that maybe I could use, take as a hallucination. But I think some of this now, especially with what we learned about taking away the 4.0 model and how people reacted, this is now going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy where all of the AI companies are going to be like, this is an important thing. When you're talking to human beings, you have to talk a certain way. And it's not just, man, even a 7-year-old could have figured out how to answer that better. Yeah, you're right. You're looking at the naivety of today's models. Yeah. Tomorrow's models, 1,000 days from now, I don't think you're having complete AI, you don't have AGI in 1,000 days, but you have emotional knowledge.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 1,000 days in this world is an extremely long time.
That's what I didn't choose that number. The AI did, right? But I think that, I think 3 years from now, that's totally within the realm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, even at the current pace of progress, that's an extremely long time. If you imagine accelerated progress, which I do in this particular area of technology, then you're not even going to get twice the progress that you got in the last 18 months. You're going to get considerably more than that. So yeah, emotional intelligence, I could see a lot of use for that. And again, not just the surrogate friend, therapist, teacher, that stuff seems obvious, but just literally am I giving you a letter of the law response? Or am I going to give you a response that's going to leave you deeply satisfied?
And I'll push it even one more. You're dead right. I think you're dead right, Tim. I'm going to capstone it though with something else, which is, all right, like I talked about Claude Opus and Sonnet, which is like purely about coding. And you might think, oh, there's no place for emotions there.
Yeah.
Well, there is. Because a coder at 3 a.m. exhausted who is interacting with AI, an AI that understands that problem, can deal with the coder, the human coder, a lot better
Right.
than if they're using a generalized model.
Right. Or a coder who needs something quick and dirty and doesn't really care that much. And, you know, I just kind of want to figure something out and I want a quick Python script and it's going to get me some kind of answer and I'm going to move on.
Well,
it's
yeah.
very different from someone who says, I'm making something really important and precise and delicate in a production system and people are going to die if it's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, code vibing right now by an absolute amateur looks a certain way. I think AI will be probably more receptive to, oh, I see that you're a beginner. So the way I'm going to work with you is a certain way. You're definitely right. I think everything you just said is dead right. And because those are categories that an AI can figure out probably very quickly. But I'm even saying that even the subtlety of professional programmer, the difference between their 8 a.m. coding versus their 2 p.m. coding versus their 3 a.m. coding.
Sure.
AI can even help there.
Well,
And that's what I think is 1,000 days from now.
that's interesting as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. and here's the craziest part. So I brought a set of notes on this topic.
Yeah.
That was topic 1 on the 1,000-day question. I got at least 6 more.
Holy smokes.
And I also have a list of what I don't think will be there in 1,000 days.
Oh, this is exciting. We got a series.
I think the 1,000 days from now AI series is going to be something that is very cool for us. And the reason
Better do it quick so it's not 900 days from now.
Well, time moves on. So the point to doing this podcast this way is I love doing reaction podcasts where it's like, Tim, I heard this. What do you think? And you spiel off and then I do as well. And I think these are fun because I wish some of you audience members could be with us in the room having a discussion about this. But I think some of these things are thought-provoking enough, right?
Yeah. That's thought-provoking. And I'm excited about continuing this conversation.
We will.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Tim.